Welcome, wrestling fans. Welcome to Curtain Jerkin. As always, I'm your host, Jacob Grondy, reporting for the Main Event Marks YouTube channel and the Dragon Suplex Podcasting Network. Guys, I gotta apologize. For a few days, I have not recorded a podcast. I needed a little break. I didn't watch Slammiversary. I didn't watch Triple Mania. I didn't watch Raw. So I didn't get caught up again in Vince McMahon showing back up. I did hear about Triple H being back in NXT. I don't know if that has anything to do with Stephanie McMahon being the interim CEO, or that might have something to do with NXT 2.0 ratings being as bad as they are. They're even worse than NXT Black and Gold. So they're bringing back the Black and Gold. There's a new logo. It looks goofy and cartoonish, but it still looks a little bit like the old one. And then they're bringing Triple H back. I don't know if they're having second thoughts about 2.0. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what they're doing, but I do know that Triple H is coming back to the forefront of NXT. I just had to take a break, though, guys. Last week was rough. The Jeff Hardy news kind of brought me down, kind of made me not really interested in wrestling for a little while, for a few days. Here I am trying to talk about wrestling and forget about the day, and I'm having to talk about extramarital affairs and drunk driving. It just started to feel like work, and I'm not making any money off of this, guys, so I took a step back. But then, Tuesday morning, I get some news that made me seek out the New Japan show, June 21st, and I was hooked again, guys. I'm back at being a wrestling fan after a few days off. Kushida is back in New Japan. Ishimori beat Hiromu Takahashi for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship, something I didn't think was going to happen. Great match. I beg to ask why he wasn't in the G1. If he was going to lose the Junior Championship like this, have him in the G1. He's over like the guys in the G1. He's, in some cases, way more over than some guys in the G1. But I digress here. Ishimori is recovering from his match that he just had main eventing Corrigan Hall, cutting a victory promo, and then Kushida's music hits, crowd pops, girls squeal. They don't bleep that reaction, though. They're able to have a genuine reaction and not get bleeped in New Japan. Pretty cool. Kushida comes out, back in New Japan, like I said. Never should have left. Never should have fucking left. Challenges Ishimori for the title. Fresh matchup there because Kushida left around the time that Ishimori came in. Freshens up the junior title picture right off the bat. Kushida's amazing. This is great. In the back, they ask Kushida some questions, press conference, and he says, "My home is still in Orlando, Florida, so I will be moving to Los Angeles and coming to Japan for every match. I would like to devote the rest of my wrestling life, my time, and my experience to the global expansion and development of New Japan Pro Wrestling." I'm fucking excited, guys. Kushida is back in New Japan. Yes, he was in NXT for a long time. Why didn't he get called up? He kind of got called up in 205 Live when 205 Live was, the original understanding of 205 Live after SmackDown or whatever. But, nothing much came of his WWE run. He's a legend in Japan. It's just cool to see him back. I'm going to be following this all summer. I cannot wait for the G1. I can't wait for Kushida. Will Kushida come out for, Forbidden Door? Will we see him at all? Will he be a certain surprise guest? Going into AEW Dynamite, Daniel Bryan comes out with the very sad news that he will not be at Blood and Guts or at Forbidden Door to wrestle Zack Sabre Jr. So no Okada versus Page, no Punk versus Tanahashi, and now no Zack Sabre Jr. versus Daniel Bryan. Those three matches on one card would have probably made this show the best show of all time. I'm just going to say that right now. But none of them are happening. Kind of turned this AAA When Worlds Collide into Invasion 2001, if you ask me. But that's not, it's still going to be a good show. I'm still going to watch the show. I'm not that down on the show, even though I'm going to probably spend this whole rest of the time complaining about the show. I'm not down enough to not watch it. It's going to be a great show. But Brian says that he has a replacement that will join Blackpool Combat Club, that will wrestle in Blood and Guts, that will wrestle Zack Sabre Jr. at Forbidden Door. Could it be Jonathan Gresham? Could it be Kushida? Could it be Chris Hero? Could it be Johnny Gargano? It could have been all those guys, possibly, but if it's not Cesaro, I'm going to be pissed off. I'll tell you that much right now. There were a lot of good promos on Dynamite, but none as good as Christian Cage. Promo of his career, if you ask me. He went out there and he said that he didn't want to be a father figure to Jungle Boy. Jungle Boy already has a father, but he's dead. Thought that was a shocking line, and kind of an MJF style line. And he goes in to kind of shitting on MJF, mentioning MJF says that former WWE guys get paid too much, and then a lot of guys, myself included, on their podcast the next day brought up the fact that maybe Christian Cage is getting paid too much. All he does is come out with Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus for over a year now. And he kind of brought that up. He goes, well, I get paid more because I can make them. Because unlike a lot of the wrestlers in the back, he can have a match. I'm getting tongue-tied here. He said something like, the wrestlers of today cannot have a match that will be remembered next week. Whereas he had a match that was remembered for years to come, for decades to come. And they named pay-per-views after. Of course, talking about TLC. Kind of a rebuttal to the good MJF promo we got from a few weeks ago. So I think that Christian Cage promo was the best thing in AEW. The Forbidden Door promotion and build tied into the Blood and Guts blood and build is kind of getting really convoluted. And I'll just kind of go into it. Okada, he comes out on this show, first time ever on AEW, but he's wearing a t-shirt. Okada with the gold robe looks so fucking cool. Okada, with his traditional full gear tights and everything, looks so fucking cool. Him just standing there in a t-shirt, if you don't know who he is, it's not that cool. You guys AEW's got a book for the people that don't know who Okada is. It was like when Tanahashi a few weeks ago came out in a blazer and a t-shirt. It's like, if you don't know who Tanahashi is, some guy in a blazer and t-shirt really wouldn't be that cool. They look cool as fuck in their entrance gear. Just have them come out in their entrance gear. I would have, them come out, whether the situation called for that or not, have them come out in their entrance gear every single time. I would also have these guys in the ring when Okada or Tanahashi show up, sell the fuck out of them being even in the arena. Like, run the fuck away. But they kind of scampered off a little bit, Jay White and Adam Cole. This Forbidden Door build has been convoluted as fuck, and I follow New Japan and AEW. I don't know how these people who only follow AEW are watching this. I think a lot of people aren't tuning in. I think that's what the numbers are showing anyways. But that did not stop me from ranking every single match from worst to first on Dynamite, like I do every single week. Number 1, Maria Shafir, or number 5, I should say, Maria Shafir and Toni Storm. This match was okay. The best Maria Shafir match of her career, but that ain't saying shit. Still the worst match on the show. Toni Storm hitting a running hip attack. She has a lot of upside. I said upside, right? Storm wins, but gets attacked by Nyla Rose. Every single match here, there's people attacking after the match, and I guess that is wrestling, so to speak, but it was got repetitive and kind of got redundant at times. It felt like I was just, I could see it coming, not in a good way. Number 4 out of 5, Orange Cassidy and Roppongi Vice versus Ospreay and Aussie Open. I'm not into Orange Cassidy getting, with Ospreay at all, by any means. But Orange Cassidy did win with the Orange Punch. Number 3 out of 5, Silas Young versus Hangman Page. Silas Young making his AEW debut. Cool to see him in AEW. Crowd chants for him over Hangman, the hometown kid, but he can't seal the deal. He goes for a springboard moonsault. He misses. Hangman Page hits the buckshot lariat. 1, 2, 3. Number 2 out of 5, Pentagon versus Malachi Black. This match should have been on the pay-per-view, but wait, Pentagon can't be on Forbidden Door because of these weird politics between CMLL and AAA. CMLL has a deal with New Japan, so even though AEW has a deal with AAA and New Japan has a deal with AEW, AAA wrestlers can't be on the same show as New Japan wrestlers because of the deal that New Japan has worked out with CMLL. So CML's bullshit is kind of getting all tangled up in what would have been a really, really amazing historic show. And I don't even think they have TV or anything right now. But the number one match on this show, Jericho and Archer versus Mox and Tanahashi, mainly because Tanahashi showed up full gear ready. He should have came out like this from the beginning. JR put him over super huge, saying that he was top 10 all time. So that's what you need. You need him coming out looking impressive, the crowd cheering for him, go Ace entrance music, go Ace mannerisms with the robe and everything, and then you need to have people like JR saying he's top 10 all time. People like Excalibur saying, oh yeah, definitely top 10 all time. If that was the only time you saw Tanahashi, you'd be super impressed. But if you saw him twice before coming out in a blazer, you probably wouldn't be that impressed. And it probably is in the back of your mind when you're watching him this time. But I digress. Still a great match. Tanahashi won with the high fly flow. And here we go into Forbidden Door. We're going to be giving you our predictions on the show. And when I say our predictions, I mean just my predictions. No one else does this show. I put it up myself. We have Bullet Club, a.k.a. the Young Bucks. Young Bucks, I guess, still in Bullet Club, even though they kind of haven't been in Bullet Club in years. And Hikuleo and El Phantasma versus Darby Allin, Sting, Shingo, and Hiromu. Takahashi, the guy who just dropped the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship, teaming with Sting and Darby Allin and Shingo. This is crazy. So, I mean, right here, though, is kind of convoluted. The Young Bucks, who aren't really in Bullet Club anymore, are in Bullet Club for this match versus Darby Allin and Sting teaming up with guys in LIJ, but this is the only LIJ representation on this card. I'm thinking Bucks win, but they do some underhanded shit, and then Darby Allin and Sting have reason to go after the tag titles, and then it's going to be the Young Bucks versus Darby Allin and Sting for the tag titles next big show, and hopefully maybe Darby and Sting could win the tag titles. That'd be kind of sick. Zack Sabre Jr. versus Daniel Bryan's mystery opponent. No matter who that mystery opponent is, he's going to win the match. And I'm hoping it's Cesaro, like I said before. Moving on from the card, we have Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara and Minoru Suzuki. What a random-ass tandem this is. Versus Eddie Kingston, Wheeler Yuta, and Shota Umino. I'm thinking you got to get heat on Chris Jericho going into Blood and Guts. So it's going to be Jericho, Sammy, and Minoru Suzuki. Even though I think this whole involvement with Suzuki Gun has kind of watered down this feud with the Jericho Appreciation Society and Eddie Kingston a little bit. But, I mean, this whole thing kind of waters down everything. They could have done it better. They should have just announced the card like UFC does. Just announce a card and done very little build besides promos. Because the promos were fire. Everything else with guys running in and different factions getting loaned out and them not really being in a faction anymore because they left New Japan years ago, but then we act like they're still in that faction because it's convenient. It's all convoluted and weird. But moving on, winner takes all. ROH World Tag Team Championship and IWGP Tag Team Championship. FTR versus United Empire versus Roppongi Vice. New Japan is going into the G1, so even Great O'Khan and Jeff Cobb, who have the tag championships right now, are going to be in singles competitions for months, and they've been playing hot potato with these tag titles with Chase Owens and Bad Luck Fale as of late, whereas FTR have the AAA tag championships, have the ROH tag team championships, so it would just be really fucking cool if they could have all three at once. So I'm going with FTR just because it would fit their gimmick and if anyone else in this thing wins it, they wouldn't be able to defend any of these tag titles for a long time. I don't think RPG Vice is going to win this thing. I think they're taking the pin. I think that's why they're in the match. AEW Women's Championship, Thunder Rosa versus Toni Storm. I think Thunder Rosa is winning that one. Will Ospreay versus Orange Cassidy for the IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship. I think Will Ospreay is winning that one. AEW All Atlantic Championship 4-way. The coolest match on the show, probably the best match that we're going to see on the show, is for an odd title, the most unnecessary title in wrestling right now. You have two companies worth of championships. You got interim titles getting passed around, and here we are creating a new championship for no reason. But if it's going to give us this match one time, I don't mind this title existing for throughout all of history. Pac versus Miro versus Malachi Black versus Tomohiro Ishii. All these guys work wild. All these guys are going to be fun as fuck to wear. You got Miro being the base. You got Ishii working snug as fuck. You got Black working snug as fuck. You got Pac jumping off of everywhere. I can just see it in my brain now. But as far as the winner, I don't think you should put it on Ishii because he's going to take some L's in the G1, so you don't want this new title getting tarnished like that. Malachi and Pac are in their own feud, which involves a few other teammates. But Miro needs something to sink his teeth into, and that's why I think Miro is going to win this championship. For the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, Jay White, Hangman Page, Okada, and Adam Cole. Did I just say the last match was going to be the best match on the show? Because I think this match might be the best match on the show. And I think Adam Cole is there to take the pin. And I think, if Okada beats Adam Cole and takes the title, then Jay White can spend his whole year saying how he was screwed. And Jay White does a really good I was screwed promo. So I'm going to go with that. I think Okada's going to win. But I really, really, really hope Omega comes out here. I know that's everyone's thinking that. And then we can get an Okada-Omega stare down that would shake the wrestling world. And so you can get Okada-Omega maybe in between the G1 and Wrestle Kingdom. Maybe Okada-Omega at Wrestle Kingdom. He would have to beat Jay White. Hopefully maybe in the G1 finals kind of shut him up a little bit. But I'm booking 6 months ahead when I'm just trying to predict this match here. And I think Okada's going to win this one. Interim AEW Championship, Jon Moxley versus Tanahashi. I don't think they want Tanahashi losing with the AEW title, even though it would be really cool having him walk out with the AEW Championship during the entire G1. But that would then lead to Punk versus Tanahashi, which is what they wanted all along. And they have to do some sort of trade here. So FTR getting the Tag Team Championship, walking around with that on Dynamite, might be the trade they're looking for. So Hiroshi Tanahashi is the interim championship, and then could face Punk when Punk gets better. And in exchange for that, FTR is the IWGP Tag Team Champions. Maybe that's going to happen. That's what I want to happen. I did just book Tanahashi and Okada going over on an AEW show. That's probably not going to happen now that I look back on it. But I don't know. That's what makes this show fun. The build sucked, but we're done with the build now. The build is over. Now it's just the matches, and we know the matches are going to be good. So the hard part's over, guys. We got through the convoluted, odd Dynamites and Rampages, and now here we are at Forbidden Door. The matches are going to be amazing. Just sit back, relax, and let's watch some goddamn wrestling, guys. We earned it. Fly high, I'm out.